Good morning, I am Buck. This is Sawdust Solutions, and today we're going to look at the things that a new woodworker needs to take into account and what to look for. And what we're going to try to do is make that a new woodworker's journey more enjoyable. Because right off the bat, if you can stand to get the good stuff, you'll be, in the long run, you'll be proud you did. If you're buying this junk at these big box stores, stuff like that, and you think that's the way it is, you won't be doing it long. You need to go ahead and bite the bullet and get the good stuff. But it's one thing I learned the hard way. Your tape measures will mess you up. What I mean by that, they don't all measure the same. And when you're working with some joinery and stuff that where you need to get down there, I mean, I got feeler gauges where I get it within 10 thousandths and all that kind of stuff. I mean, you really, if you're gonna do fine woodworking, that's what it's gonna take. You need the good stuff. And what I do, I get tape measures, the scales, rules, some call it, The thing about it is, I got them all over the shop, if you'll look. I got them hanging everywhere, all the way up to 30 footers. But I've had some tape measures that actually I got some tapes right here. They've been checked. One's got a laser on it and it matches everything else I'm doing. But I've had tape measures that did not. And if you're building a deck, I mean, they were within 1/16 of an inch, but if you're doing some trying to get something on it, 1/16 of an inch is way too much. So, building a deck, 1/16 is, there's nothing wrong with that. The unfinished lumber, it will have a variance more than that. But you go to the trouble of planing it down and squaring it up, and you need it. So the way I do it, I compare them. I take my base guy. This is the one I use the most. And I will pull it out as far as I can. I hook it and pull it out as far as I can and say, I'm gonna compare this one. I pull them and I go as far as I can. Them things got to match right on the money. And I'll lay that same gauge down and I will lay the scale up right beside it, and then I will measure and see that they are giving me the same thing. It's like a square. I've had them to bite me on that too. I think I still got it over there. I worked and worked and worked, and I was doing box joints. First box joint went fine, but you got 4 sets going around the box. But the rest of them, I could not get them to fit. They're too tight, and I'm scratching their head, and that's cool. So I you get your straight edge, you put that square down, and you draw your line, then flip it over and do the other way. And if you still got a straight line, and them lines are matching, it's square. But if it's not, so I had the square that was off. So I searched around, I got me a square, and that's when I went ahead and bought some good squares. And then I didn't have any more trouble. However, what got me was, I've checked this square before, and it was on it. Well, today it was off. Well, I went ahead and got my other square, I went to work, My wife come down here and she's sitting over and we were talking and everything, and she was asking Dyer to figure out the problem. And I said, check this square out. Well, I laid it down there and it was off 2 days before. I laid it down there, it's right on the money. That sucker moves. So and that's why you gotta allow for the movement in wood and everything. This thing is a high dollar bait. Man, I've had this thing for 40 years. And it's still right on the money, but to what they have figured out, this wood will move, temperature, humidity, pressures, it'll move. But this brass will move too. And it is, you think it's on there to protect the corners, which it is, but that's not why it's there. It moves in the opposite direction. So it keeps her straight no matter what. So if you're going to buy a square, these things you get at big box stores, they're not going to hang with you. It may be right today, but it won't be tomorrow. But the thing about it is, for instance, like a combination square, you can take a thing apart and you can file one end or the other, depending on which way it's off, and put it back together and it'll be square. But tomorrow you're going to do the same thing, or next week, or when things change. So my mother's husband give me a square. This thing come from, I'm talking, it is back in the day. I mean, the thing about it is, every time I've checked it, I've got a 12-inch one too. Every time I've checked it's been right. But I've got some squares, really I'll not have it in here. That square right there, you check it, it may be right, tomorrow be wrong, or whatever. I mean, it. So buying the good stuff will save you so much. Because if you're going to stick with this, at some point you got to have the good stuff anyway. But check that stuff. Check it. They got to be comparing, because if one, you measure in there with one coming in here and it's 16th off, I'm telling you, in the woodworking, not carpentry, woodworking, you got to be closer than that. So my tape measure, I check. If it ain't exactly, it leaves here. I got one in the basement for rough measurements or what have you. It's one of the ones that left here. Chisels another one. You take and buy a set of chisels. The old saying, cry once. This is IBC chisels. You cry once. They're expensive, but I'm telling you, they are a pleasure. They are a pleasure to use. Mallet really doesn't matter. However, you don't want to take a ball peen hammer or a claw hammer to it. It needs to give a little bit. After a while, you do this, you'll see what I'm talking about. That's why I'm building a hand tool woodworking bench out of pine. Because I think you can make it too hard. It's actually somewhere in the middle where probably why it won't be. Say, poplar might make a good one. It's harder than pine, but it ain't so hard that you'll think you're chiseling on a piece of I-beam, if you know what I mean. And that's just my opinion. Everyone's got an opinion, but my opinion comes from 40 years experience. Yeah, well, actually 53 years experience. Anyway, but who's counting? But I will tell you this. You're better off to use this YouTube stuff and what I'm saying, what everybody else is saying, as a guide to go by and go see what works for you. That's where you need to be. You need to go, because once you see it work for you, and you've tried it another way. So now this is the way I want to do it. Well, ain't nobody gonna tell you different. I mean, you done it for yourself. It's the practical experience that you've generated from this. So that goes for hand saws and planes as well. I had a Stanley, kind of hated to use it. On softwoods, it did okay, but you was always, I mean, and I went ahead and got me a Wood River. And when I did that, after using that old Stanley, with that thin blade and all like that, and I got me a Wood River, as soon as I put that dude in the wood, I know the difference. It was a pleasure to use. And the end result's so much finer. And you know, on hand saws, I will tell you this. You know, people think a hand saw's a hand saw's a hand saw, but it'd like to kill me to buy a $250 hand saw. I got this from Rob Cosman to cut my dovetails. But I will tell you this, I realize there's a big difference in saws. Cry once, and I'm telling you, buddy, I'm telling you, it sure makes it woodworking a pleasure. Having good stuff, I mean, I've been fortunate enough to where I've worked up and got me some good stuff. And take it from me, don't want to buy the junk. You'll cry twice. It's an old saying. I'm sure y'all have heard that. I'm telling you, cry once, and then it is a pleasure to use. It is a pleasure to use. So that's where we're at. And them are the things that if I had to give advice for someone getting in woodworking, that's what I would do. Start with your hand stuff, hand tools. But these IBCs, I don't see how you can make them much better than this. Holds an edge, and you talking about getting sharp. You know the old saying, is something I've learned from experience. I've heard all my life that a dull, let's see, how did that saying go? A dull knife is more dangerous than a sharp one. What I have learned, because I have learned you need to sharpen some good stones and stuff to where you can sharpen your tools up. That's a must in hand tool. But when I learned how to sharpen and get this stuff sharp, so what I have learned is the people who say that a dull knife will cut is more dangerous than a sharp one has not had a sharp knife. A sharp chisel, a sharp plane blade, a sharp pocket knife. I'm talking about sharp. Will cut you and you not know you're cut. I mean, when I take these and sharpen them, I walk around with it like I've got a loaded gun. Them things will cut you bad. That's the difference between a good one and these things you get at the big box store, little cheap things. But when you get in a piece of hardwood and it takes hardly any effort to slide through those fibers, that's when the smile comes on your face. It says, yeah, baby. That's what I'm talking about. That gets her done. I guess the takeaway would be buy the good stuff. Learn how to sharpen them. And your woodworking, slow and steady, your woodworking to me, it's the journey. Not as much as the end product is the journey. And if you got good tools, that journey you will enjoy. So that's going to be all for now. Like I say, my wife's we actually went to the doctor and got some pretty good. Next week she start putting a little more weight on her leg. So that's it's moving forward. So here in a few weeks, when they can put the weight to tolerance on it, that's when things really pick up. She can start getting better. The difference between, say, a knee surgery, knee replacement, you can put your full weight on it that day. Where her problem is she hadn't been able to put any weight on it because that bone had to heal the gap up before she put any weight on it. So she just been waiting for it to heal. You know, getting over the surgery, and her wounds heal slow anyway. But now, once here in a few weeks, when she can put her weight on that leg, she's gonna start getting better. She'll be able to do, and so yeah, it's be downhill then. So until I got a few minutes, 30 minutes, hour here, I've been doing my hand tool woodworking bench. But the thing about it is, I work a few minutes today, hour tomorrow, or not the next day. You know, I'm just trying to work it around. So I had some time where I could come down here today. I thought I would throw this out there. But I just felt like I just need you to know my opinion. Buy the good stuff. And your woodworking, you'll be so much more happier with it. It'd be a pleasure. To me, it's the journey. Again, it's the journey. And if you got good tools and know how to use them, that journey will be much more enjoyable. So, happy woodworking. Thank you for watching. I'll see you on the next one.